Hey boys and girls, it's Brother Jared here, and I'm in our chapel room. Just want to say I'm still missing you and love you very much. And I've been so blessed to see some of your videos on Facebook doing your Bible challenges. And listen, it's been pumping me up, and I can't wait till we get back to church because look, you all been doing so good on these Bible challenges. I'm going to have like extra candy in the bag for when y'all get back. But anyways, I hope y'all are having a good time. You're listening to mom and dad or grandma and grandpa and being nice to your brothers and sisters. But just wanted you to know, love you, miss you very much. And at the end of this, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of secret. But anyways, we're going to finish up with our studies today. You know, we've been learning about this little guy that watched sheep, and he was a shepherd. And boys and girls, his name was what? That's right, his name was David, and he was the youngest son of Jesse. And we know that David was a special young man. Why? Because Samuel the prophet had came to their house and visited, and he was looking for the next king. And we know that he anointed David's head by pouring what over him? What's that? No, not water. No, not milk. That's right, oil. He anointed David's head with oil, and he's going to be the next king. But he's got to wait his turn. We know that Saul's the king, and Saul has turned his back on God. But during all this, we know David's gone to visit his brothers, and there's been this battle fixing to brew between the Israelites and the Philistines. And we know there was this big, stinky, smelly giant named who? That's right, Goliath. He's been chanting out, wanting somebody to come and fight him. And nobody's been brave enough except one. This little shepherd boy named David. And we know that God is giving David this confidence. Why? Because all of David's faith is in God. Because God let David kill the lion. He let him kill the bear. And now David's like, I'm not afraid of this Philistine because my God is mightier. So then we come to the final part, and it says, David kills Goliath. And here's our final picture today in this book as we finish up our studies. We see David, the little shepherd boy here, and he's used that sling, and he's thrown that rock, and he struck down the Philistine champion. So let's listen to God's word. It says, reaching into his bag, and I'm going to act like I'm David. I'm reaching in my bag, and I've took my smooth stone. And he puts it into his sling, and he starts whirling his sling around his head several times. And all of a sudden, David lets it go, and the stone flies out just like a bullet. And it strikes this big, stinky, smelly Philistine giant right between the eyes, right in the head. And it sank deep into the giant's forehead. Why? That was the one unprotected place on his body. We know he had this coat of armor that weighed 200 pounds. He had a helmet. He had greaves on. He had shackles. He was well protected. And he had this huge shield as well. But his weak spot was right between his eyes, and that's where the stone sunk in at. It says the mighty giant fell, boom, face down, unconscious on the ground. Running towards the falling giant, David jumped up and stood on top of the giant's body. No, he didn't do a round of applause, or no, he didn't flex. It says David then drew Goliath's sword out of the sheath. Remember, this sword was huge. It took all of David's strength and all of his might in both hands as he drew out the sword, and he cut off the head of that big, stinky, smelly, overconfident giant named Goliath. The Philistine army, seeing that their hero was dead, they turned and ran like chickens scared for their lives. The Israelite army, with a triumphant shout, chased the Philistine army back to their own country. God had given them great victory that day through a little shepherd boy named David. And all the Israelite army had seen it. You see, David became an instant hero. Why? Not because of what he had done. He was a hero by this simple fact. All because his faith was in God. And boys and girls, that's what I want to challenge you right now, is that for the remainder of your days, to always be like this little shepherd boy and put all your faith in God. It says the giant had boasted about what he could do, but David boasted about what God would do. David had learned to trust God in the past, and he was not afraid to trust him today. Since we don't have a giant in our front yard, we don't have one in our schools or our neighborhood, making fun of our God and challenging us to come fight. But we have giants of sin in our lives that can defeat us just like Goliath. We want to overcome these giants of having a bad temper or saying bad words or being disobedient or lying or laziness or jealousy. And we know that we will overcome these if we do as David did. You see, just as there was no way for David to win a victory in his own strength and power, you and I are helpless against these enemies in our life if we try to fight them by ourselves. But the Bible says, with us is the Lord our God to help us and to fight our battles. Isn't that encouraging today, boys and girls, to know that no matter what we face, no matter what we go through, our God is there to fight for us and to with us and to help us? So with God's help, we can overcome being selfish. We can overcome our bad temper, our bad words, or being lazy, or lying, or being disobedient to mom and dad. We can overcome all the sins that give us trouble. Thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. What is the giant in your life today? Can you trust God to help you conquer this giant? Boys and girls, I want to tell you, you can trust God. Whatever it is that is battling you in your life right now, I want to challenge you to pray and to turn that giant over to God. But I hope you've enjoyed the book that we've been doing over the last several months, our favorite Bible stories. And we'll have some new stories starting next week. And just to let you in on a little secret, Brother Cameron and I have been talking, and there's a good chance we're going to have some special friends come join us in the next few weeks when we do chapel. But once again, I want you to know Brother Jared loves you, and I miss you, and I'm always praying for you. And I encourage you to be good at home and listen to mom and dad. And we'll see you soon at church, and I'll have some candy. Goodbye.